All right, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Steaks with Mates podcast. My name is Joff, or Health Coach Joff, and today I'm joined with one of my good friends. All right, which I met through social media a while back. Josh, welcome, man. And he goes under the handle on Instagram and also YouTube, Carnivorejosh. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the podcast. Great to have you on.
Hey man, really good to be on the show again. I always love talking to you, being on your podcast, and I like the new rebrand. It's pretty sick, man.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a while since we've had a chat, but we do go back and forth quite a bit on Instagram. But a little bit of backstory. I met Josh on Instagram. I was following you on some of your posts, and it was just good to see young people doing the carnivore diet. And this was about 2 or 3 years ago. But it was very early on when I first started carnivore, and I'm sure it was early on for you as well. Yeah. And yeah, it was just so good to see young people on the carnivore diet, and the fact that you were also training, going to the gym, whilst not having carbohydrates. I thought, man, I'll connect well with this guy. And pretty much ever since then, I think, you've been one of those people that was always just easy to talk with in the carnivore space. And I really do appreciate that. But yeah, you've got a pretty amazing story. And I know we've covered it before in our previous videos, but do you want to share to people, life before carnivore, what happened, what led you to this lifestyle, and what you've experienced?
Yeah, brother. So, like most people, I came to the carnivore diet because just my health and everything was deteriorating. Like usually everybody comes to the carnivore diet because they have issues with their health. And so yeah, I was diagnosed with something called GERD, LPR syndrome, and chronic gastritis back in like 2020, which, those are all very debilitating digestive issues. It affects the gut. It kind of like, so with GERD, when you eat something that stimulates your symptoms, like you eat something that triggers your GERD, it's going to cause the stomach acid to rise up into the throat, and it's going to cause all sorts of issues with like bloating, nausea, like trouble breathing, so many different things. Like I remember so many times that I would just have like panic attacks from like the acid coming up in your throat, because it just like it stops you from being able to breathe, and it really sucks, and you feel like nauseous all the time, and it's just terrible. So I would keep track of every single food that would trigger my symptoms with GERD, and I kept an extensive food journal of everything that would worsen my symptoms, or just make me feel sick and bloated. And literally towards the end of making that list, I was down to just things like chicken noodle soup, meat, and water. Like even flavored drinks would cause this acid to come up in my throat and cause all sorts of issues. But yeah, eventually I ran out of options. Like I tried vegan, I tried vegetarian, I tried things like the low FODMAP diet, the Acid Watchers diet, and just all these diets. They never were able to cure my GERD, and never able to relieve my symptoms. And so, yeah, I literally just laid in bed starving to death for a few years. And yeah, so, with the doctors not really being able to help me, every single medication they would prescribe me would just make me feel worse, because for people with digestive issues and GERD, they will usually prescribe things like antacids, PPIs, and other different kinds of medication that actually lower your stomach acid, which is what it says they do, but that makes it harder to digest foods, so you feel worse. So yeah, after having nobody left to help me, I took matters into my own hands, and I started doing research just about everything about how to cure GERD, and everybody goes down the rabbit hole with their health, and I came across the carnivore diet, and so I thought it was very interesting. I did more and more research into it, and eventually I tried it, and I didn't try it out of choice. I did carnivore out of necessity. I had nowhere else to go. I was starving to death. No other diet would help me. Everything I ate would make me sick. So yeah, within 2 months of doing the carnivore diet, my first 2 months were strict lion diet, by the way, pretty much.
Wow.
Yeah, after just 2 months, I put all my major issues into remission. Chronic, lifelong digestive issues that are going to be with you the rest of your life. I was able to put them in full remission and start the healing process. And it's lifelong eczema as well. I was pre-diabetic, just a bunch of things with my health. And yeah, this was the craziest time of my life. Like this, just like realizing everything that you've been told is a lie. And yeah, with all the healing I experienced and everything, it just, yeah, within 2 months, like the carnivore diet completely healed me pretty much. So yeah, that's kind of my story.
Bro, I don't think a lot of people realize, when they think about GERD or GORD, if you're from Australia, because we do things different here. Like even for myself, like you don't think of it as such a major thing, because if you've eaten a standard Western diet all your life, you kind of feel like reflux is a normal thing. But in your case, you had it quite severe. Like it was really quite debilitating, wouldn't you say? Like, I mean, being stuck in bed and not being able to do anything because of that feeling of, just shortness of breath, and I would imagine it would be quite painful as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah, so sometimes when the acid comes up past the sphincter in your throat and into your esophagus, it causes like terrible heartburn. Like sometimes my heartburn was so bad that I'd think that I was having asthma or breathing issues, but it was the burn was so severe. And yeah, so I took inhalers and stuff while I was sick, and it helped. Yeah,
that's crazy, man. And sorry, at what age did you experience all this?
I was diagnosed with GERD, chronic gastritis, and LPR syndrome in 2020.
In 2020.
Yeah.
And how old were you?
I was 20.
You're 20, dude. That's crazy. I hope you're enjoying the episode so far, but before we get back into it, I really want to talk about something I think is very important for health and longevity, and it's about adult stem cells. Did you know that adult stem cells are essential for the repair and renew of damaged and old cells in your body? But here's the catch. As you age, the number of adult stem cells in your circulation decreases. By age of 35, your natural release of adult stem cells can drop up to 45%. By 50, it can drop as much as 50%. And by 65, it can plummet by up to 90%. Fortunately though, there is a solution. There is a product out there in the market that naturally increases the amount of adult stem cells that circulate in your bloodstream. It's by a company called Cerule, and the magical product is called Stem Enhance Ultra. There's also a bunch of amazing products that Cerule offer that help with the migration of adult stem cells. Now, to check this out for yourself, go click the link below that I'll provide in the video description. And I should also note that you can get your products for free. So check it out. And with that, let's get back to the show. It must have been quite scary as a 20-year-old. Like, you kind of expect that later on in life you start to develop certain issues, but at 20, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's very young to experience issues with your health like that, but it's becoming more and more common in today's society, like every single day.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is, man. And you know what? I see it all the time, and because I work as a nurse, so I see everyone's, when the patients come in, you see the diagnosis, and GERD or GORD, it's everywhere. It's like everyone's got it, and it's stock standard. Here, take a proton pump inhibitor or a PPI, an antacid, and pretty much, I've never seen anyone get off those medications. Did they work for you, by the way, these meds, or not?
Yeah, those medications are usually like lifelong. Like you have to take those for the rest of your life. And after my first 2 months on carnivore, till today I've never had to take it again. Yeah, but when I noticed when coming off the medication and going back on and testing, like how it makes me feel. Often these PPIs and these antacids, they make you feel worse.
Yeah.
Like, I remember having issues with digestion. Like it would like shut off your digestion. Anything I ate, just after I ate anything, I would just feel so sluggish and tired all the time because my digestion was slow because of the medication. So digestion, overall energy, and tiredness. Yeah, not worth it for the medication, to be honest.
No, absolutely. And the fact that you're paying for it as well. Like, if you could resolve those symptoms without having to pay a buck for, medications that supposedly are lifelong, I'd rather go with that option, I think. Good job. And it's quite crazy too. Think about it. Like, they say that the more meat you eat, the more acidic your stomach gets, right? And a lot of the times they pinpoint these reflux or gastrointestinal disorders to, having too much acidity in your stomach, having your stomach a little bit too acidic. But it's not the case, clearly, because you see people like yourself, eat a meat-heavy diet, which makes your stomach more acidic, yet you don't get reflux anymore. Like, that's another thing that people need to consider. Maybe it's not to do with the stomach acid, but maybe it's not to do with trying to lower stomach acidity.
So fun fact with that is, like, I think it's 80% of all GERD cases aren't because they have too much stomach acid, but it's because they have too little. So exactly. Yeah, if you were to eat a carnivore diet, lots of meat, lots of acidic foods, and it increases the acid in your stomach, well, that helps because you didn't have enough to begin with.
Yeah.
And then, in terms of changing the acidity of your stomach, it's supposed to be acidic. Otherwise, you can't digest your food.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. You can't digest the meat. Yeah, exactly. And I think, I don't remember who I heard this from. It probably is from Bart. But I think the acid triggers the sphincter to close up. So that you don't get the reflux. And so if your stomach isn't acidic enough, you've got no trigger to actually tell your sphincters to close up, and that's why you get the buildup of gastric juices up the esophagus. But man, that's I still think that's crazy to experience as a 20-year-old. But I'm glad to know that you've gotten out of it. Things are much better on the carnivore diet. What are some of the things that you improved on the carnivore diet?
So the carnivore diet healed my incurable diseases, my lifelong eczema, just a bunch of digestive issues and stuff, acne, depression. being borderline suicidal too, not gonna lie. But yeah, the carnivore diet improved like so many things other than health in my life. Like, I mean, like my gym performance, for instance. I don't know if you want to pop a picture up on the screen of my before and a picture of how I look today. I can send you that after this. But yeah, you can obviously tell that I've built muscle, and I also train in a very unconventional way. I train like you know how Jonathan Griffiths teaches the low and like high intensity, low volume kind of training. So I train very hard, and I need a lot of energy to train that way. And so the carnivore diet, you know, the first few months you're getting fat adapted, but once you're fat adapted and you're 2.5 years into it, like me, it just becomes so good, and it's amazing. But yeah, my gym performance, my health, I do want to say my libido as well.
Boy.
My libido, testosterone, stuff like
what
that.
They don't talk about. They never talk about that, but that comes back, man.
Sex hormones and stuff like that. But yeah, and it's so weird because for the 3-4 years I was sick, like my testosterone must have been very low. I didn't even think about that stuff like at all. I was just brain fog in my head, depressed, suicidal, no libido whatsoever. Now my libido is sky high. Crazy.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's crazy, bro. Like, but you touched on a few things there, and I really want to get into your, you know, gym, strength training, and whatnot. But yeah, I think the same too, man. Like, it wasn't just the physical things that you experienced, you know, like the improvements in your physical health, but to me, I think the mental health is such a huge thing, dude. And it's I hear about it from a lot of people too, but I can't stress that out enough. The mental clarity and the freaking, it's hard to explain, the euphoria that you get when you switch from being carb dependent to, you know, using fats it almost makes you feel like a different person, honestly.
Yes.
In a positive way. Like, yeah, it's crazy. But man, let's get into this, brother. Training. This is, I think, one of the reasons why both me and you connected really well together. Was you know, training and our philosophy in training. But let's rewind the clock back a little bit and get into some history. What got you into training in the first place? Like going to the gym and whatnot.
So before I started carnivore, throughout high school, I liked to go to weight room. I liked to just, you know, work out and do some weird stuff and just chill with the boys. But I never really like ever took it seriously, and I was just always concerned with, you know, trying to put on weight, and I just like eat anything I could and just get absolutely, you know, bloated and as fat and try to up on the scale as much as I can because I was tired of being skinny my whole life. But obviously, you know, that came with a tragic thing that would eventually happen, and I got super sick because of that. So yeah, then I mean, after going through all that and then switching to carnivore and getting fat adapted, like everything just changed and got better. So for the years that I was sick, I was not able to really do any physical activity. I had to quit working out like I was before. I had to quit my job, and I had to basically, I was bedridden. I couldn't really get out of bed. It was just like physically standing up would make you nauseous and make you feel sick, and it sucked. But yeah, after I was sick for a long time, I started the carnivore diet, and I was interested in, gaining my weight back and, trying to build muscle. And so I started working out. I did a lot of research into Mike Menser and the high intensity, low volume kind of training, like one set to failure stuff. And then, I kind of got into that. I tested it out for a bit, and I tested out adding in 2 sets and then 3 sets, and I'm still experimenting right now as of currently, but I've been sticking mostly to 1 to 2 sets per exercise. And so I started just working out again alongside the carnivore diet, trying to improve my health and everything, because I got my life back. I got my life back after that, so I wanted to continue to pursue what I wanted, which was to maybe eventually become a bodybuilder. I don't know, maybe.
Nice.
And so just and I told people, I would argue with people in the beginning, like, just give me a few years. We'll see if you can actually, build muscle without carbs.
Yeah.
And so, fast forward to today, and obviously we can see that it works. It worked with me. I've gained.
Worked with you, brother. It did.
I gained over 20 pounds of muscle in almost 3 years. Just about 3 years. So it was pretty good for me. And that's one thing that I think is different from me and other bodybuilders in the carnivore space, is that, most of them came to this lifestyle with a physique.
Yeah.
I came to this diet with no physique. Like, everything I built was from meat. So that's my insight, my perspective to it, I guess.
So I guess what you're trying to say is that you really don't need any carbs to build muscle or, perform well at the gym. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
Nice.
I find that the closer that I stay to zero carb, the more energy I have. I do, when I'm bulking, experiment. I have a lot of dairy, so I do get carbs and stuff.
Yeah.
And just, some fruit once in a while, especially since it's in season now. So I find when I add the fruits and stuff, it does make me feel more tired as the week progresses. And it's just, I often feel like it would be better to do that after a workout if you're going to eat carbs, because your body will just burn right through it like that. But the closer you stick to, the more fat adapted you are, the more energy you have, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I can attest to, and I bring it up because, people, this is the one thing that really, I mean, there's a lot of things that irritate me, but within the fitness space, the gym bro space, there's this huge belief that we need carbohydrates in the diet to build muscle, specifically muscle, right? And you are an example that you don't. Obviously, it's an N equals 1, but I'll show you a photo up on the screen. But you did it. You did it without carbohydrates, or very, very little carbohydrates in the diet. I did it myself personally, and with my N equals 1, I put on muscle. And I'm like you, brother. I came in when I first started going to the gym, and my story is very similar to yours. I had about a 2-year hiatus of training, and so I would say I lost a fair amount of muscle because I was quite sedentary. Now, going back on the carnivore diet, it took me about 3 months to actually, get that pump back. And within, after a few months, after, to a year, I really started to put on muscle. And that was purely without carbohydrates. Okay. But what are your thoughts about people who've been on the carnivore diet, say, for a year or so, but then they want to start adding carbs back in, like fruits, to optimize, I guess, performance or building muscle? What are your thoughts around that?
Yeah, so a lot of times I see people, like, especially with me, sometimes people will add carbs in just not because they think it's for performance, but personally for me, it's because I like sugar. I like fruit sometimes. Yeah, not for any performance, not because I think carbs are going to build muscle or they're going to do this or that, just purely for taste and pleasure,
Yeah.
which we all give into sometimes, but you really don't need carbs to build muscle, honestly. It's like it's the leucine, it's the amino acids, it's the protein in the meat that's gonna, build the muscle.
Yeah.
And carbs for like performance wise, you don't need carbs for performance. Being in ketosis is literally like the best form of energy. I've experienced that. You've experienced that. Many of us have experienced that. So I don't think it's really a good idea. But I mean, yeah, if you're going to eat carbs, obviously right after your workout, so you can burn through them quickly. But I would say to just like, you want to stay as fat adapted as possible.
Yeah.
So if you are going to eat carbs, just eat as little as possible.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I think for me, it's all self experimentation. You have to try. If if you do notice that there are things that aren't going so well, in the gym, or if you notice slight changes in yourself whilst training, it might be that you might need a little bit of carbs. It's hard to say. I mean, we're all individuals who've got different genetics, and different backgrounds, different upbringings. So I think experimentation is really required. But in terms of, exceeding an amount where it's like, say 50 grams, I think that's unnecessary. But you can get enough. I think personally, in my own personal experience, you can get enough muscle growth from eating enough protein and eating enough fat. That's my thoughts. Yeah.
Completely agree with that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, you're totally built on, amino acids, and you run on fats for energy as well. So I don't see why not. But look, happy to be proven wrong otherwise. But let's get into the next thing, man, and let's talk about carnivore diet and the argument that we are designed as human beings to eat a carnivore diet. And where are we sort of in the spectrum of this? Like, we've sort of, me and you have been in discussion about this before in the past, about these subcategories of, carnivores. Where do we sort of sit in the spectrum, in your opinion and your thoughts?
So the most recent stable isotope studies that were done in 2023, I believe, by Professor Mickey Bendor, those clearly outline that we were pretty much almost 100% carnivore in most places around the world. And so in a video that he did with Dr. Anthony Chafee, he told him that if he were to put a classification on it, that humans would be hyper carnivores. So, and I tend to agree with that. We are hyper carnivores. So people will, I don't know, like I hear a bunch of different, yeah, you're right, terminologies in the carnivore community. Like people will try to argue about, oh, we're facultative carnivores. Oh, we're obligate carnivores. Well,
or vegans.
Or vegans, or I don't know, just all this other stuff. But first we have to take a look at what exactly a facultative and an obligate carnivore is. So an obligate carnivore requires meat to survive. Without a doubt, they require meat. and a facultative carnivore has a little bit more dietary flexibility. And so both these things, they actually explain humans. Like we do require meat to survive, but we also have some dietary flexibility like a facultative carnivore would. But the thing that we need to think about here, and the reason why I think we lean more towards, an obligate carnivore, well, there's a lot of issues with the terminology, but
yeah,
honestly, like an obligate carnivore is a synonym. It's synonymous for a hyper carnivore. So if we're hyper carnivores, then what are we? We're obligate carnivores, because facultative carnivores, they can have the ability to survive somewhat off plant foods and be able to, adapt to that. But as you know, humans are we cannot. Some people cannot efficiently break down beta carotene into vitamin A, which is the most bioavailable form of the vitamin. There's a lot of vitamins that people have issues with that you can only get from animal foods. And yeah, so just that fact, and the fact that our appendix is literally it's shriveled up and useless. Like, we can get it taken out. We don't need it anymore. We don't have the ability to digest fiber like other omnivores would be able to have.
Yep.
And so everything just kind of points to us being, like more of an obligate carnivore. But I would classify us as obligate hyper carnivores, because we're obligated to eat meat to survive, but we do have a tiny bit of dietary flexibility. And you can see that out in nature. Even the most carnivorous animals like lions and tigers, they'll eat fruit. They will sometimes eat grass to aid in digestion. And all the animals they eat, they have plant material in their gut digesting as the tiger's eating it. So yeah, and tigers are absolute obligate carnivores. Lions are obligate carnivores, but they fall into the hyper carnivore kind of tab as well, because they can't eat other things. So we're just like lions. Our stomach acid is the same as almost, it's in between a scavenger and a carnivore at 1.5 stomach pH. So yeah, there's just a lot. Like, I see a lot of people argue about this in the community. We're facultative. No, we're obligate carnivores. We're hyper carnivores, which is an obligate carnivore.
Yes. Look, man, I think I agree with your points too, and I lean towards more that we are obligate hyper carnivores for the reasons you've outlined. But also, I think what most of us all agree on, I think even in the other spectrum of the debate, even towards the plant-based side, is that we were always opportunistic. As in, whatever environments that we were placed in, that we were currently around, we made sure we capitalized on that. And so, yeah, you would have had some societies that ate a bit more plant-based than other, comparisons to other societies. But at the end of the day, looking at biology, I think personally it just points towards that status of we are hypercarnivores. We need to eat meat to get most of our nutrition. In fact, probably all of our nutrition, I would say. Yeah, man, it's an interesting one. I like these discussions. I really do. It's I love looking at the the paleoanthropology stuff as compared to other sciences and whatnot, just because it's so interesting to be like, oh yeah, that about comparative anatomy of different animals. I find it so fascinating. And I guess at the end of the day, people just need to eat more meat. I think that's the message that we're all trying to get out there, being on social media. Like people nowadays, the diets that most people are consuming, this mixed macro diet, is I think one of the most dangerous diets out there. But yeah, man. Hey, a couple more questions before we wrap things up. Let's talk about your biggest influences in the carnivore space. Who has influenced you, I guess, the most in terms of, just as a person, but also, to be more out there and to promote this message. Give me your top three.
Three?
Yeah.
All right. First, I would have to say Coach Colt Milton. He's been one of the biggest inspirations for me when I first started the carnivore diet and made my Instagram page and started posting about it. He was the first one that saw my story and saw my transformation and decided to reach out to me. And so, yeah, I did a lot of Instagram lives with him and stuff, and did a few podcasts with him. He's really cool. I do want to thank him for that. He helped me spread my name out there a little bit, and he helped me. He was basically my coach. So yeah, he's been a really good influence to me. I want to say Dr. or Professor Bart K as my second, because he's just so badass. You see him, arguing and debating these vegans, like his debate with Vegan Gains. I used to follow.
Oh, man, that was good. That was.
Yeah. But I used to follow people like that, like Vegan Gains, and used to eat what he ate and did what he did at the gym. I used to look up to those people, and to see him just like tear them apart is freaking awesome. It's badass.
It was.
Yep. So yeah, then I want to say 3, Michaela Peterson, because she, like, when I first started the carnivore diet, that was going like crazy popular, and like, Jordan Peterson and his daughter Michaela Peterson, they're doing this carnivore diet where they only eat steak every single day, and like seeing her story was pretty inspirational for me. Number 4, I would have to say Joe. Okay, people are gonna find this funny. Okay, Joey Schwartz, the freaking
my man,
carnivore, the carnivore camaraderie. But
nice.
Yeah, when he first started, I got interested in his story and stuff, and I followed him. And for a while, he was preaching the good message, the right message. We're both young. I looked up to him. He just, like, this was before I knew everything I knew now. He was so smart to me, and he was doing podcasts all the time and stuff. And yeah, he was so young and inspirational, and
he was killing it.
Yeah, he was killing it, dude. Like, I looked up
the carnivore space. He was doing so well.
I looked up to him, man, and it's like, I saw him after he changed and everything, and just, left the carnivore space, and, didn't even give a good reason why, and just come up with all this stuff about why you need to eat carbs now. Like, I completely lost all hope in him, and just, after I learned what I learned, I knew that he was lying even more. So, yeah. But then number 5, honestly, I'll probably just say, like, the community. Like, I'm in Bart K's Discord, I'm in a bunch of Facebook group chats with Ferrigno Freedom and like other carnivore influencers, and yeah, just the community, man. Everybody helps out. Everybody gives you tips and information for free, and yeah, there's just so many people in the community in the space that are very kind and passionate and awesome. So yeah, that's my top 5.
Awesome, man. Well, I did ask just for the top 3, but the 2 is all right. You can add the extra 2 in there. No, that's good. Awesome. Let's do a shout out to Coach Colt, Professor Batke, and Michaela Peterson. And who are the other ones again? You mentioned the community.
Colt Milton.
Yeah.
In the community. Yeah.
In the community.
And then Michaela Peterson.
Bro, that's an awesome top 5. And I think, we just need to acknowledge these people. I think, they've done a lot obviously for you. Oh, we forgot to add in Joey. Yeah, Joey's
Joey Schwartz.
He's done a lot for you too. I mean, it's.
I don't think anybody even really knows who he is anymore.
Bro, you know what? I even forgot about him until recently.
Me too.
He was killing. He was probably one of the first young, because he was a teenager when he was still in high school actually.
Yeah.
When he started doing YouTube. So that he was a big name. He was huge. But look, these people they inspire us to get the message out there, and I think that's what's most important is that we look up to these people, we spread the word, and hopefully the word gets out there because it's what's needed. I think this is what the world needs. We need people who are free thinkers that talk about their insights and their experiences and let people decide, hey, do I want to do this kind of a diet and give this a go? Yes, it's breaking the norm, but it's freaking, look at all these people that are healing, like Josh, who's, overcome so much at a young age with, the gastro stuff. But man, what's in the horizon for you? Anything in particular that you're looking to build on? Any bodybuilding aspirations or whatnot? Talk us through what's in the future.
Yeah, so I'm taking a carnivore coaching class at the moment. Nice. And as soon as I'm done, I plan on, becoming a carnivore coach to help people, transform their life and just transition into this lifestyle that is so healing and so amazing, and just to help coach people and teach them what I know about the carnivore diet, and especially fitness stuff. How they can intertwine fitness with the carnivore diet, what they need to eat, what their macros need to look like, all this stuff. Nice. And yeah,
that's awesome, man. Well, big ups to you. Congratulations for taking that step. That's amazing. I can't wait, man. I can't wait to see what's in store for you. You've got a lot of potential, I think.
Thanks.
And I know that we've been talking in the background. I think it's a good step to help people out because obviously there's a demand out there for it and people need help. Yeah. But otherwise, man, for those who don't know how to get in contact with you, where should they go to find you on social media?
You can find me on Instagram, Rumble, and YouTube at Carnivorejosh. Basically spelled the same way on all 3 of them. So yeah, you can find me there.
Nice. Well, brother, it was a pleasure to have you on, and I'm sure if you're willing, this is not going to be the last episode that you'll be coming on. So I'd love to have you back in as a guest. Maybe we'll talk about something different, a little, something a little bit more spicy in the community. That's there's always something interesting, like a debate that's gone on between a doctor and a vegan, or Professor Batke ripping into someone. But yeah, there's a lot of topics to talk about, and would love to have you back on board in the future.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Yep.
All right, brother. Well, thank you for watching. Boys and girls, and we'll see you in the next episode.